Ever since the Alaska disaster, wherein Vladimir Putin put a shock collar around Kankel's McTaco tits and just started shocking it nonstop, guess whose talking points are matching exactly those of Vladimir Putin's? Donald Trump. Donald Trump's talking points mimic the Russian position almost word for word. And as of right now, Russian tanks are heading into the battlefield with a Russian flag and an American flag. All of this is all over Russian television right now. It is American weakness. Kankel's McTaco tits is soft. He is weak. He is triggered by late night comedians. And 77 million people think he's a tough guy that can go handle Vladimir Putin. This is absolutely a disaster. And what makes it worse is the wife of Kankel's, the wife of McTaco tits, Melania Trump. She wrote a letter to Vladimir Putin. Put this up. Tim Miller with the Bulwark is reporting not a great sign for Trump's negotiation that he's been reduced to putting out a Mr. Putin, won't you please think of the children letter from his third wife, wherein Melania goes and writes this letter to Putin because Russia kidnaps Ukrainian children. They kidnap them and they take them to Russia. And there was a university in the United States, Yale, that was tracking this and trying to keep track of where all of these kids were. Guess who defunded that research? Kankel's McTaco tits did. So for Melania Trump to write that letter when her husband is actively doing what Vladimir Putin wants him to do is so breathtakingly numb, cruel, and beyond the pale. But that's what this administration has become. And I just want pop that letter up one more time. This is just the petty part of it. Why is she copying his signature? I mean, you know, it's just save us. We know you don't give a shit about Christmas, Melania. We know you don't give a shit about kids. This is unbelievable. If you really wanted to do something about these kidnapped Ukrainian kids, you'd tell your husband to at least put back in the research that Yale University was doing, which is now all gone. The database is gone because of Kankel's.
Well, I mean, I look at her and think this is the woman that wanted Be Best, which was trolling on the internet, and her husband is the biggest troll. But this also was a signal to me. She knows how weak and compromised Donald Trump is by Vladimir Putin because she wrote this letter. If she really gave a fuck, she would be on TV every single day. But she doesn't because Vladimir Putin runs naked photos of her on Russian state TV all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, he does. All right, next up, in the MAGA Big Ten of deplorables, here's what's going on in the streets of Indianapolis. We have armed neo-Nazis chanting white power through the streets. And I want you to notice that these people wear masks. ICE agents wear masks. And a lot of this has been in the United States forever. And now they're coming out. And guess who started this propaganda war a decade ago? To get Americans at each other's throat, to feed into the default setting that some Americans have towards white supremacy, towards white nationalism. Guess who has just an army of bot farms that keep feeding all of this? Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin does. And so you see that all of these people, I guarantee you, every single person in that march, every single one of them, MAGA,
100%
voted for Trump. And this is a generational issue that is going to live beyond Donald Trump, because any oversight that we had over monitoring espionage that Russia does to the United States of America, guess who shut that down? Kankel's McTaco tits. At every turn, he bends the knee to Vladimir Putin and is now mimicking his talking points almost word for word.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard's been, the director of national intelligence. She's been mimicking his talking points since she got in office. There is no question. You cannot make the argument that this administration is not compromised by Russia. You can't make it. It is as clear as the nose on my face.
And here's where I get with this. Is somebody in the Trump administration, somebody that was in that closed door meeting, is it going to be little Marco? I doubt it.
No.
But is somebody going to say, hey, here's the deal. they have compromising information on the president that's going to take us all down. This is why they campaigned about getting rid of the deep state, because before there were people during Trump 1.0, they reported on the call, the Ukrainian call, and they reported on it, and Trump got impeached for it. And so they are trying to get everybody in power that is just blindly obedient to Trump, who is blindly obedient to Putin. And the collateral damage goes beyond the United States of America. This is very, very dangerous stuff. But what are they talking about over on CNN while all of this is going on? They have Jillian Michaels on, and this woman adopted a Black daughter, and she is trying to defend slavery by minimizing it. We'll play the clip.
Anyone surfing social media this week has surely seen this clip of Jillian Michaels saying this about slavery.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans own slaves?
And while she didn't name a specific year in her claim on CNN, she did tweet this out later saying, "I'm denigrating all of humanity by pointing out that 98% of American white people in 1860 didn't perpetrate slavery."
Okay.
But let's take a look at.
Let's stop right there. This is the problem, Jillian. You're looking at it the wrong way. Because in 1860, 95% of Blacks in the South were slaves. In Mississippi, 100% of Black people were slaves. And if you didn't own a slave, you treated somebody else's slave as such. So you're looking at this from the wrong angle. You're looking at it from being an oppressor. And as the mother of a Black child, I just find that unbelievable. And to try to say that, oh, only 2%, which her numbers are faulty, and that TikTok dives into it more and more. But 95 to 100% of Black people either were slaves or were treated as such. I still live around people in Oklahoma City. Pumps lives around people and knows people intimately who oppose interracial marriage. So the confines of this thinking still permeate to today. So you looking at it, trying to assuage white people and trying to make them feel better about it is not helpful. It's better to help the people that were enslaved. That is the braver thing to do. Do we all sit around with a lot of guilt about this? This is a real absolutist way of thinking. No, I don't sit around and have a lot of guilt about this, but I put on a solution-oriented mindset that it's very obvious to me that white people, if the race of life is a 100-yard dash, start on the 40 or 50-yard line, and Black men start at maybe -5, and Black women start at maybe -25 in that 100-yard dash. What can we do to make the ideals and the dreams and the aspirations of the United States Constitution come to life, a more perfect union? What can we do to echo the words of Martin Luther King Jr. to help lift up those? I don't know if this gal's a big Christian or not, but I probably think based on her KKK style thinking that she is. So why don't you look at it from the lens of the people that were raped, killed, tortured, and it was legal to do so. And the people who didn't happen to own a slave still treated those people as though they had no rights. The fact that you're fighting for the white majority instead of the 100% Black minority that had horrific crimes committed against them is just the biggest character reveal I have ever seen on national television in my life.
Yeah, it was bad. And you know, what's even worse is she is a lesbian. Like she's a lesbian? Yes. She has a wife. I mean, she has an ex-wife with the kids. I don't know if she's married right now. But here's the thing. Whether it's, I think it was like 300,000 all in the South because the North was free at this point. The problem is in the South, the racism still exists like it did in the time that she's talking about. It's now become emboldened by Trump with his stand back and stand by. And what Jillian Michaels doesn't understand is her daughter and herself as a lesbian are on the chopping block for this administration, for the MAGA movement. You can really, I mean, we used to say they're against Black women, they're against white women, they're against this. They are against everyone that is not a white male with money.
I'll tell you what, Jillian Michaels should if she wants to know what it's like, she could bring her family and her, by no choice of her own, she's a lesbian. I believe she was born that way. And her Black daughter, who deserves equal rights, bring them to the South and enroll them in a private Christian school. See if you even get in. See if they even allow you in, because they won't. They won't allow you in because they're racist homophobes that make people sign documents that they oppose gay marriage. That's their number one thing. And I can tell you what, at these schools, they might have a Black person here or there, and it is a token. It is a token Black person in these schools that assuages white guilt for active racism. So come take a spin around in the South, Jillian, and see how well your daughter's treated. Because my husband's a criminal defense attorney, and he represents 2 Black female basketball players who moved to a rural town. And guess what happened when those Black girls started playing on that basketball team in an all-white rural town in Oklahoma? Inward, 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 inward by their classmates. So this is just unbelievable. She probably lives in a blue state, I don't know much about her, where she is provided the protections of blue state governors that fight for equality for all. All right. And then moving along, I want to point out 2 issues of waste, fraud, and abuse that I would like to earmark for the MAGA administration. Put up the first headline. The Trump administration is set to spend up to $50 million on taxpayer-funded PR amid the torrent of negative coverage dodging ICE Barbie Kristi Noem. $50 million for a PR campaign for this broad. That's just a complete waste, fraud, and abuse. So every time they say waste, fraud, and abuse, it's bullshit. And the last one, I want to get Pump's take on this. Brian Tyler Cohen is reporting on waste, fraud, and abuse. The Trump administration just spent $560,000 taxpayer dollars to buy new ICE trucks styled to look like Trump's private jet for social media hype video after cutting funding for child cancer research.
This is who they are. They are not pro-child. They are not pro-life. They are pro-dehumanizing people, torturing people, and cruelty. The reason they're doing this is because they don't give a shit about people. What they care about is optics. Full stop. Full stop.
Speaking of optics, Pumps, take a look at this. Kylie, put up that truck again. It says defend the homeland on it. And this is manufactured by Putin because he thought I can wage a war against the United States of America and never have to fire a bullet or a missile. And he did it with psychological warfare that creates all of this division. So you have all these white Americans that feel like they have to defend their culture. One of the ICE websites, doesn't it say, defend your culture? That's on their recruiting. What culture are they talking about defending? The same culture that Jillian Michaels is trying to defend right now, when she doesn't realize if you go live in an all-white America and go live in rural America with your Black daughter, Jillian, take her around, see what happens. I would say don't do that because it's child abuse, but these are very dangerous, sick people that don't give a shit about children. This defend the homeland stuff. They are now, I saw a report recently that they're now going to be moving on to, they want to make sure the one thing that they support in these concentration camps, I guess they support diversity there because now they're looking to arrest white people to put them in the concentration camps. I read a report on that over the weekend. All right. Very alarming, troubling stuff. But please remember that those of us who believe in the ideas of equality and social justice, we're all still here and we all still have our voice. And this is a deranged, despicable minority. Trump has in the 30s approval rating. So we have to keep hammering hard at these people. We have to keep calling out the hypocrisy and the duplicity. And we have to fight for this country and fight for Jillian Michaels' daughter because God knows she's not. All right. We'll see you all later.